Hey there, and welcome back. This week's a little bit special. We're staying in Stockholm at my parents' place, and when Claire suddenly, overnight, developed a really bad cough, we quickly decided to isolate and get away from my parents, who obviously are the older generation. So it's been a little bit hectic the last couple of days, but we'll see what's going on. So when Claire woke up with a really bad cough, actually she started coughing during the night, but that morning I grabbed her and it was so quick that she started coughing a lot that I actually headed out and figured let's go check that out. So we went to the nearest medical facility, and I left her in the car and walked in to the reception and kind of told them what was going on. And they thanked me for not bringing a coughing 5-year-old into the waiting room. Instead, they opened up a room for us immediately, and we could go there without sitting and coughing in the waiting room. So we do our part to try to do the whole corona isolation thing. Anyway, we got to the doctor's office, and the doctor checks out Claire. And since we're living with my parents, I mentioned that to them, and he said that we should probably test her for corona just for safety. In Sweden, they don't test kids for coronavirus. They because they're usually not in a risk group anyway. So, but in this case, they made an exception, and they figured they'd test her just because. The interesting thing here is the test for corona or COVID-19 is like a test stick up your nose. I didn't know that. So the doctor actually called in a nurse and said, "Can you help us out?" And then told me to hold on to Claire. And I figured it was just going to be like a little, I don't know, something you just dab around in the nose. And he goes, "Nah, you're going to need to hold on to her." So I'm holding on, and he tells Claire that, "All right, I'm going to put this in your nose, and it'll hurt a little bit, but I need you to sit still while I do this." And Claire's really skeptical, but she's looking at the doctor and looks at me like, okay, let's do that. And he sticks that stick in her nose. Oh my, way up. And Claire didn't like that, of course, so she's screaming, and I had to really hug her really hard to make sure that so that she's not flailing around and jabs it up into her nose even worse. Interesting experience. It was just a couple of seconds. Then that test was over, and it took a couple of minutes for Claire to get back to her normal, mellow self. I think I'd have a hard time convincing her of doing a corona test again, though. That wasn't too much fun. So while we waited for the results of that test, we were sent home. But since we were living at my parents' place, we decided that that's probably not the smartest idea. So Claire didn't get to go back up to the apartment. Eric grabbed the other two girls, and they kind of disinfected whatever places that Claire might have touched the day before. And then we actually headed out to a hotel, and we figured we could isolate better into one room and then just order things into the room. So we did that and took really special care to make sure that we weren't potentially spreading anything, or Claire potentially wasn't spreading anything. The next day, we woke up in the hotel room, and during the day, I got news from the doctor's office that it indeed was not corona. So Claire was deemed safe to be around other people. Whatever she had was not going to be bad news for anybody else. So she was free to go, I guess. But at the same time, in other good news, of course, the cough medicine that she was given was actually having a really good effect on her. So the one night in the hotel room, she was almost back to normal the next morning. So we're like, okay, well, that's good. And then we got the news that she didn't have corona, but I had already paid for yet another night at the hotel. I wasn't expecting the results that fast. So we figured we'd stay at the hotel that night that we've paid for anyway. And instead of just hunkering down in our room, we got to actually check out the hotel. And they had a living room downstairs by the lobby with board games and books, and it was really nice. And then a really great breakfast buffet that we could enjoy the next morning. So a nice hotel to hang out in. Of course, if you're isolating in a room, then you can be in any motel, I guess. But now that we had a night and we weren't in lockdown mode, we'd actually enjoy the hotel. That was great fun. After getting the all clear and spending the extra night at the hotel, we headed over to back to my parents' apartment and got situated there and spent the next couple of days just hanging with family. It's been a really family focused couple of weeks here. Then so my parents' apartment is on the 7th floor, and during the summer there's lots of hot air balloons that go by all throughout Stockholm, I guess, but they're always there somewhere around Mom and Dad's place. And it's really cool to see up close how huge these hot air balloons are. Still, at the same time, a little bit nerve-wracking to see them just kind of coast what looks to be just meters off of the rooftops. It's probably a lot more, but it is... they're huge, and when they're close, you can hear like how they're heating up the air so that it becomes hot. Anyhow, it's cool. We also headed out to a swimming spot out on an island on the outskirts of Stockholm called Ekerö. And actually on the way there, you drive by Drottningholm, which is where the king and queen of Sweden actually live. Like they have the official palace in Old Town Stockholm. But then they have this palace, whatever it's called, where they actually live, like sleep there. Nice place, nice garden behind that palace. Anyhow, we went past that and we went out to a place that we were going to go swimming. So while we got to the parking lot by this swimming beach or whatever we want to call it, I was unpacking the car and I had my whole upper body was in the trunk of the car pretty much. I was rummaging through something, and a car pulls up to park next to us, and I instinctively kind of look up just to check that my kids aren't flailing around. They weren't. They were with Erica. They were doing something in the car. Erica was standing outside of the car, but as I glance up, I also glance at the car coming in, and the driver looks at me and waves like, "Hey!" And it took me a second, and I was like, "Wahoo!" I was like, "Oh, I know that guy." Old, he's not old. He's my age. We're not old, but an old childhood friend of mine. Our parents, like our moms, work together, so we've known each other our entire lives. We haven't seen each other for like 13 years, and I asked him later, like, how did you know it was me when all you can see is like my butt sticking out of a car? And the answer was great. He goes, "Oh, I didn't know that was you, but I recognized Erica." Standing next to the car, I recognized Erica from Instagram. So he follows us on Instagram, and he goes, "I recognized her from Instagram, and I figured you'd have to be here somewhere close by. And then when you popped your head out, there you are." And I thought that was great fun. And Erica got to feel Insta famous for that day at least. Also fun to catch up with Frederick, a good friend that we haven't had time, or we haven't lived anywhere nearby for a long, long time. So Frederick and I figured that our mothers wouldn't believe that we had just randomly run into each other on this parking lot by the beach. So we grabbed a selfie of the two of us so we could send to our respective mothers, just so that they would see that, hey, look at this. Look who I found on the beach. So the last couple of days here before we head north, we, again, we're spending with family and friends and kind of packing, going through stuff. We're going north, so we're getting rid of some shorts and, yeah, packing. Oh, I'm hoping to get the Legos, my old Legos. I'm hoping to get that into the car so we can bring it north. The girls really enjoy playing with the Legos, and I think that I'm able to squeeze it into our trunk. So we've gotten rid of some other stuff, so I'm hoping the Legos will fit instead. Erica doesn't think so. We'll see if I succeed or not. I don't know. Anyhow, just outside my parents' condo, like their condominium homeowners association, I guess it might be called, they have like a barbecue place or a patio or whatever, a garden behind the building. And we've been there like a couple of nights eating dinner, and my sister and her family's come over and joined us. And then I've also, I really miss taking care of the garden in our old house. So when I saw that some of the flowers of like I don't even know what type of plant this is, but it's like a vine that was climbing vine plant. It needed some help and some restructuring. So I grabbed one of the tables and pulled it over there and stood on it and was doing some gardening work. Annabelle is always quick to join me. If there's gardening work going on, she wants to be a part of it. It's, like I said, I miss gardening. So I try to garden in other people's gardens, and sometimes it's a condominium commonplace garden. That's fine too. Also, here's a side note. I was out running the other day next to the water right by where my parents live. And early in the morning, so I meet a couple other people, but there's not much people out moving around at, 6 a.m. But I look out in the water and this really weird animal is swimming. I don't think it's like a sea otter or something like that. This is a lake. So it's really weird. If you know what this is, let me know in the comments below if you know what animal this is. Really weird. I almost thought it might be like a giant rat, but I don't know. Please tell me it's not. It'd be great if it's not a rat. Let me know. Anyhow, we just finished up packing and cleaning and all that fun stuff. We're going to head north here shortly. Pack the car and head north. We have a rough draft of our route going north. So more on that next week and the things we visit and see on our way. Until then, remember to subscribe to our channel and check us out on Instagram. What else should I be saying? I don't know. Have a great week. Have fun. See ya.